So, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go ahead with the proceedings of the panel discussion. For years, the construction industry remained disjointed and siloed. Every construction site is different, presently its own unique set of challenges and risks. And let's move on to today's first panel that features construction leaders who will talk about technology interventions in their organizations, how they are reaping the rewards with increased productivity, better collaboration, and timely project completion, resulting in higher profit margins. And ladies and gentlemen, I have the privilege of inviting our distinguished moderator for this session, Mr. Yash Pratap Singh, partner KPMG. Mr. Singh is BIM and lean enthusiast with over 17 years of experience and provided advisory services for portfolio management, schedule management, project review, PMO owners, management consultant, time and cost optimization, SOPs, project management, and maturity audits and lean construction, among other solutions. A very warm welcome to you, sir. And let's now invite our eminent speakers. I invite Mr. T.R. Rao, Wholetime Director, PNC Infratech. He's having over 3 decades of professional looks after business development, monitoring and coordinating of implementation contract administration, overseeing operational projects on BOT, toll, annuity and HAM, arbitration and corporate communications of the company. So let's welcome Mr. T.R. Rao. He's arriving. He's on his way, ladies and gentlemen. Would be here shortly. Our next eminent speaker, Mr. Vikaas Ahluwalia, Director Ahluwalia's Contractors. A warm welcome to you. He has nearly 5 decades of experience, and he's the second generation in the Ahluwalia family to take on the responsibility of the executive leadership and is leading engineering, procurement, construction, and design. We welcome our eminent panelist, Mr. Smit Shah, President, Drone Federation of India. With his well-rounded business acumen and passion for public policy and technology integration to solve large-scale problems, Mr. Shah works ardently with leading drone manufacturers and plays a prominent role in the drone policy advocacy and interacting with civil and defense government agencies. A warm welcome. We welcome our eminent panelist, Mr. Praveen Sharma, the BIM engineers. Mr. Sharma is a BIM digital twin and virtual construction technology specialist with 20+ years of experience of implementing BIM and 600+ complex projects. So let's put our hands together to welcome Mr. Praveen Sharma. I also invite our eminent panelist, Miss Bhawah Samyal, Senior Architect, BIM Management, AECOM. A warm welcome to you, ma'am. Ms. Samyal carries 9 years of experience as a Senior Architect and BIM Manager and is driving and implementing BIM and digital interventions across large complex projects using BIM collaboration, coordination, and visualization tools. And may I also invite Mr. Awanish Shukla, Senior Manager, Business Strategy, DLF. A passionate infrastructure professional having inviolable and unique distinction of projects, he is having experience in project management aspects of construction, project majority in real estate, e-commerce and commercial buildings, healthcare, educational and social infra projects in India and Middle East. So ladies and gentlemen, a warm round of applause to welcome our eminent panel on the dais for the first panel discussion session of this summit. As I hand over to our distinguished moderator, Mr. Yash Singh, to take over the discussions. And sir, you have about 45 minutes. Over to you, sir, for your opening remark.
A very warm welcome to all of you once again, and I'm delighted to be here. And this event is nothing different than a project also, where you have a set timeline, there are interim milestones. Apparently we missed some timelines for the first couple of milestones, but you know, when you have someone like Ambar Dubey as the chief guest, it is very difficult to stop him with the kind of energy that he exudes. So we will try to make up for the lost time, and as it happens with all these events, I'm expecting from Roshali that the lunch will be squeezed. So you may have to crash your lunch time to make up for all the lost time. So we'll straight away jump into this panel discussion, and I think a good tone has been set in the first few sessions by Amber Dubey, Mr. Sinha, and Mr. Kasturi Srinivas in terms of the digital penetration that we are expecting to see in the infrastructure sector. However, in Indian context, if you see with the amount of opportunities that are ahead of us, it is my belief that we are only scratching the surface right now. The market which is there for us for the infrastructure to leverage the digital platforms and create a difference is actually significant. And in order to make that happen, we need the entire ecosystem of the infrastructure fraternity to come together, work together, and agree on a common understanding of when it comes to the construction digital technology usage across the project life cycle. You need to have clients, we need to have contractors, we need to have technology service providers, we need to have engineering consultants and a lot more other stakeholders to work together. And with that said, the panel that we have today also represents that set of stakeholders from different parts of the ecosystem. We have, Awanish representing the client fraternity, we have Vikaas representing the contracting fraternity, and Mr. Rao also, and of course, Praveen is there for the technology fraternity, and Bhawah for the engineering, and I think Smit, delighted to have you, Smit, so for the advanced drone usage fraternity also. So we would love to hear views from them, and this panel is going to be for the next 40 minutes or so. The themes are going to be around largely around the skill sets available in the country to use the technology, and how do we speed up the implementation of digital for the Indian infrastructure and so on. So with that said, my first question will be to actually all the panelists, is that there is it's well established, not just Indian context, but in global context, that the construction industry is generally slow in technology adoption. And one of my fellow panelists has used a word called technophobic. There is a tendency to become technophobic, for the construction industry. So I would like to invite views first from Smith. If you can share your views that why construction industry is very slow as compared to the other industries, if you look at manufacturing or the other advanced industries.
So I'll answer this from a drone adoption perspective. So what we've seen is that there are a large set of infrastructure projects that are coming up where the public sector is involved or the government is involved in some way or the other. There the adoption has picked up very quickly because the site survey and the progress monitoring, in some cases even the release of payment is being matched and is being validated via drone surveys. So there the adoption was a little faster. But of course on the private sector side, we've seen that availability of drones, availability of understanding of this technology has been one of the gaps. And essentially this is also because when you have large projects coming in, you can have a ecosystem, you can have tools like Bentley that we saw as a presentation that can be taken up and projects can be monitored via these platforms. And whereas the smaller projects, short-term projects, we see that the modern technologies are not taken because usually the developers or the stakeholders are moving from one project to the other, and there is no set sort of function or organizational way of taking licenses of these tools and then managing the project or any other project through such a life cycle. So it's more of a technology adoption problem. maybe availability of these tools on software as a service kind of a model, or pay per use kind of a model will actually help the smaller players try these tools and then maybe use it. So I think that is one of the gap area and a probable solution to that.
Sure. I think for drones specifically, Smit, I would like to see I think in next 5 years, there could be a Uber app for drones as well. If someone has to use a drone for a particular purpose, not just for construction monitoring, but also for, let's say, for weddings, which is happening nowadays a lot, you can actually, go to the app and book a drone and just select, it's a wedding on for this date, and that's about it. And then the drone will come. You just share the coordinates.
Yeah, in fact, this is already happening in multiple countries. India, we also have a lot of private apps like these who are aggregating a lot of service providers, manufacturers, service providers, as well as pilots. So 5 years, maybe it will happen in 12 months.
That's good. I like the enthusiasm. Vikaas, if your views on why, from the contracting perspective, why, we are so slow in adopting technologies?
We are not like, we don't like to be technophobic as a community. We are technophobic. I think the penetration of technology is probably the least in 3 domains, like I was saying. One is doctors, the other is lawyers, and the third is
the construction fraternity.
Yeah, us people. And primarily because we are, so engaged in our day-to-day, what we call as brick and mortar, working with our hand, as my seniors in the industry always say, कि हम हाथ से काम करते हैं. So, they are so engaged in that we kind of overlook that the technology itself is a tool, is an enabler. It is not something is going to get the work done. It is something which is going to assist you to get the work done. That is the disconnect that we have in using technology as an enabler to get the work done more efficiently and economically. Probably it takes time. Secondly, it is not so easy to change. There is always resistance to change. I'm trying to bring in the human side of it. It is not that there is there is anything wrong with it. It is just a mindset. It is all about the word change itself. I mean, it took probably mobile technology was the only thing which got adapted and adopted into the so-called our natural way of life the fastest, because it eased communication between 2 individuals. In construction, the technology being used is not addressing that individual to individual connection. It is talking pure business. The minute when we use technology to address that individual personality development growth, I don't think there will be any blockage, stop. There it becomes more accessible, usable, acceptable. We don't have to, we always use the term evolution, we always use the term grow. I like to use the term adapt and adopt. We adapt to a circumstance. We adapt to a nature. We adapt to a certain environment. We are not adapting to this. That is where the problem is. Because we are not adapting, therefore it still remains a little expensive proposition. You start adapting to it, it starts becoming cheaper. You don't look at it as an expense. You start looking at it as an investment. You start looking at it as a need. That is where the disconnect is.
So, thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. T.R. Rao, would like to hear your perspective also, because I think you've done a good amount of work on the highways, road sector for the technology adoption. However, still, if you look at, by and large, the transport sector, the level of adoption of technology is still actually at a nascent stage. So, your views on this?
Yeah, thank you. PNC Infratech, as many of you may be aware of it, we are into highway construction, highway that includes expressways. and also then we are into airport payment. So these are our core areas where we have a lot of projects which we are executing. See, if you see the technology, any kind of a resistance or any kind of a, I would say, inertia towards technology in execution of projects, particularly by construction companies, it's not, there is no inertia as such. As far as execution is concerned, see, the earlier, for a typically 1 crore, 1,000 crore worth of a project, the project timelines would be around 36 months to 42 months. Now those timelines have crashed to 20 to 24 months. Without adoption of modern technology, particularly I'm referring with respect to construction, execution. So these kind of timelines, to meet these kind of timelines is simply impossible. So we adopt technology, we are adopting technology across the life cycle of a project, right from the surveys and field investigations, we put our LiDARs and DGPS for the site surveys and all. Then during execution, we have a modern machinery, we can produce huge quantities of bituminous mixes and all, then vibro rollers, and also sensors, and we have a 15-meter wide kind of a PQC. We can lay up to 350 mm thickness of a pavement quality with a 15-meter width with a sensor paver, PQC pavers, slip form pavers. And these kind of even kerb casting everywhere, we are adopting technology, and post-construction also for a O&M and other kind of even toll collection and all. I agree, there is a resistance or there is some area where the adoption of technology is slow, is the planning and monitoring, where this kind of a, what the now people are telling, the BIM, the second level, third level, fourth level kind of a thing, digital twin, there is some kind of a inertia is there. But this is primarily because, see, what happened, there are three key stakeholders in the whole thing. If these technologies, particularly digitization in the planning, monitoring and management of projects, are to come into this thing in a full-fledged kind of a thing. So one is the client. The mandate has to come from the client, the project authorities. Then again, the top management of construction companies, they have to sell them. These people who are involved in this thing, they have to sell, yes, there is a distant advantages if you adopt these things. The time what you are spending in crisis management, what you are spending in the firefighting kind of thing can be reduced. You can, if you adopt these effective monitoring and planning tools, and the engineer in between, the project management agency. So these are they play key role. So for a penetration of these kind of digitization and in the planning, monitoring and design kind of things. Otherwise, technology is there as well as education is concerned. It's always there.
Thank you, Mr. Rao. I think one of the key bottlenecks which is prevalent for the technology adoption is actually the skill set. The level of skill set which is residing in India, especially in the construction fraternity, is not up to that level if you compare us, with the developed markets. And it's also a function of, our education, I think the curriculum, how the academia is also catching up to make the next generation ready. So I want to come to Praveen, your views on how do we address this skill set gap, with technology players like, let's say, BIM engineers and all. I mean, how do you, push the envelope and start creating more and more awareness and capacity building also?
Right. Thanks, Yash, for asking very important and very pertinent question in the industry nowadays. I keep hearing the same question multiple times, but my point of view will be very different. I completely disagree with this question. I'll put a different perspective. It's not just about the dearth of talent, rather utilization of talent. I can give you a couple of examples. India produces best of the rice and mangoes in the world. But we Indians, we Bharatiya never get to taste of it. When I go to Manhattan, I try some rice and say, wow, very beautiful, very nice, very tasty rice. And they say it comes from India. So same goes with you see the people in the American medical fraternity. Bharatiya occupy almost 40% of the doctors there. NASA, scientists, almost 47% of the scientists come from Bharat. Same goes with the technology people, IT. We rule the IT globally. Same with the technology in construction industry. The bestest people, I can vouch for it and I can give you example, I can certify it, the best of the talent in the industry, whether it's BIM adoption, technology, drone, even construction innovations, it's here in our country. May not be the top 2%, but at least in top 10%, I can say 8% will be from our, if not country, but at least the, I would say region. If not specifically India, but the periphery, with the accommodation of Southeast Asia and all. So we have talent, we have people. Unfortunately, the best of the mangoes are get exported. Similarly, the best of the talent in the construction industry, the people who are adopting technology, they are doing it for the world. I can give you examples. For example, if you see the top 50 design and construction companies in the world, whether it's Kanska or Balfour Beatty or Turner Construction or Mott MacDonald, AECOM, Aegis, WSP, Parsons, Jacobs, KPMG, all these big companies, they have their global design centers in India. Out of 50, 43 companies rely on Indian talent to deliver their global projects. All the nuclear power plants, you talk about the tallest building in the world, largest infrastructure project, San Francisco Transit Bay to lots of nuclear plants in Europe, all being done in India. Indian people are doing it, but we are doing it for the world. Our country is, of course, we are elephant. You know, India is perceived as an elephant. So we move slow, but once we slow, we take very firm steps. So there are technology adoption. I can see few faces who represent this community very fast. Technology adoption has been there. We have made some records in the global construction industry for technology adoption. Some of my colleagues sitting here in this panel represent those community of technology adoption for the world. It's just a matter of few time, and now I can see the environment is being set in India. With the current dispensation, current government, authorities, like I was highly impressed with the Joint Secretary, the inaugural session. Yash mentioned, he set up the energy tone for the session for the whole day. So much vibrant energy, in 10 minutes time, he delivered so much information, my mind is still processing about the new technology adoption all across India in different sectors. So it's just a matter of time, and I see the new generation, like Vikaas ji represent, we have people from DLF who represent the next generation of people in the fraternity in construction industry. They are the flag bearer of technology adoption. So it's just a matter of time, very soon you will see technology adoption, and wherever the money is, technology will follow. So lots of things, construction is the largest industry, I guess, after agriculture. So lots of money is being spent in adopting technology. Vikaas ji mentioned we believe in doing things by hand. But how can I occupy a very senior 35, 40 years experience engineer 9 o'clock in the night? I don't need, when technology can do the same thing for me. I'll rather use a mobile phone rather than bringing a 60-year-old person with 35 years experience to the construction site to solve a small problem about staircase or toilet or hallway. So technology cannot replace the talent, but technology can rather facilitate the talent to use that. So future looks very bright. I am very enthusiastic, and I keep sharing the same thing. The future belongs to our country, us people, and you will see lots of change in next 10 to 15 years in our industry, for sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Praveen. I think that's a completely different perspective, and Vikaas ji, I think he wants to say something for sure, so please go ahead.
Just wanted to add to what Praveen was saying, you know, I keep, whenever I talk of technology and why are we not using, so, a lot of people at the senior level, even the government, they always say that it should be a mandate to the EPC company or the contractor, that it should come from the client. I say why? Why should the client or the government or anybody should give you a mandate or put it in the BOQ that you have to do a BIM L4 modeling, or you have to do this, or you have to do that. I always tell my friends, start small. Start with small investment in tech. The right one. Don't go for a SAP. Don't go for those big things that you may not understand or you don't want to understand right now. See the benefit. Adapt. Adopt. Do not try to bring in a revolution, a digital revolution into your company or into an organization or into your day-to-day life. Revolutions don't work. Revolutions don't work. They're not supposed to work. They're only supposed to bring in disruptions. You need to evolve, not revolve. Of course, I keep using the term adapt and revolve, or evolve rather, but evolve, because evolution is because in case of evolution, you have to leave something also. You can't carry the same baggage and add more to it. I always give the example of mobile phones. If you have started using the mobile phone now more often, you are less dependent on the landlines. You don't buy landline handsets anymore.
Right.
So that is where the change is.
Thank
Conviction.
you. Thank you, Vikaas ji. And Praveen, I really like the analogy to, with mangoes, that, it's actually pretty much a brain drain, which we are actually seeing in the construction industry. But, that's prevalent for BIM type of work, building information modeling, or let's say design or engineering services, which the work that can be done, let's say, remotely. But when it comes to the other tech, and I want to ask Smit again, because I know, Smit, you also have to leave, that drone with the kind of potential that it carries for India, do we have enough skill set, residing in India to actually take it forward in a big way for drones specifically? The kind of the opportunities is there, and what functionalities the drones can offer.
I'll give you some examples of how drones are being used in the infrastructure side right now. So we have all the national highways that are being monitored at least once a month or once a quarter, depending on which ones they are, via drones. It's almost a mandate. Some of them are only missed due to inefficiencies on the service provider side. All the new projects that are undertaken of expanding railway lines or redoing them or any other works around the same, the primary survey technology is now changing to drones. Of course, there are other technologies like LiDAR and vehicle-based LiDAR and rail-based LiDAR and all of that also being used. But of course, drones is one of the primary technology that is being used. So that was from an infrastructure perspective. Now from a scale perspective. So 6.5 lakh villages in the country are being mapped for creating land records under the PM Swamitwa scheme. We are going to see more than 3,000 drones being used for a single project in the country. Across the length and breadth of the country, almost all the states have signed up for executing this. The next evolution of this is, we have states like Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Haryana, who are creating a map of the entire state. So Haryana onboarded a drone service provider. They are surveying about 30,000 square kilometers of the entire state using drones. So such government projects are actually creating the skill set and the supply side, because projects like these, of course, will be done only once in a time frame. So once you map the entire state, the base layer is set. You don't really need to map the entire state again. You'll only look at random sampling, and you'll do change detection for various areas where there is a query or where there is a suspicion of land encroachment or change or something like that. So a base layer is being created. So at least in the drone ecosystem, before such projects came in, there was a big skill set gap. Currently also there is a gap, but that gap is being filled because of such a large mandate from the government side. When you have the entire country being mapped and villages across the entire span being mapped, and by the way, all of these projects have to be completed in next 24 months, 24 to 36 months of time. So these have been some of the key drivers for bridging the gap. And of course, when we talk about the drone use, currently we have about 26 drone training schools across the country. Drone training and obtaining a remote pilot certificate is almost akin to having a driving license. So everyone who drives a car has a driving license. Everyone who operates a drone needs to have a remote pilot certificate. So we have 26 schools, and the expectation is that by the next 12 months, we'll have 100 drone training schools across the country, training people, and anyone can get trained in 5 days to operate a drone. So the training is just 40 hours, and the qualification required is just 10th pass. So anyone who's just 10th pass can do 5 days of training, can get a certified drone pilot, and can work on all these projects that we are talking about, and many more other areas. And an average salary of a drone pilot is 30 or 40,000 rupees at minimum. So a rural youth or a youth coming from tier 2 kind of a setup, who would usually go to an ITI, who would do a 3-month, 6-month kind of a training, and then end up doing some blue collar job. This is a much lucrative opportunity, and all of this together is being, together is helping actually bridge that skill gap. So those are some of my thoughts on the skill.
Sure, that's great, Smit, and I think with the kind of advancement that you mentioned, I think in the next 12 months, each one of us in this room might be having a drone license also in our pocket, in addition to the vehicle license. So that's great if we can have that. I want to just switch gear and come to Bhawah. The engineering as a stakeholder in the entire project life cycle comes upfront in the project stages. And the way engineering companies can drive the technology intervention can also act as a trigger for the contractors, even for the clients, to start mandating this in their contracts and so on. So how do the companies like, let's say, AECOM and the others who are actually at the helm of engineering fraternity take this further for improved digital penetration?
Yeah, thank you for the question. And I think construction industry in general is little sensitive towards the social economic changes which is happening. And the activities, actually rightly said, can be divided into, I would say, construction and non-construction activities, and then operational side of it. And then if you want to implement digital strategies, it comes down to the point that you need to start from the initial stages as an integrated project approach. And what happens with it is that it's important for clients and maybe government to realize that you should have a digital roadmap. Maybe not for maybe for 5 years' time. Okay, you cannot implement everything and anything just in one go. So it should be a progressive approach. You put that on paper, and then use it as a digital roadmap for the entire, implementing technology. How would you? And it's an ever-changing technology platform, right? And then it can also, there is a mindset that clients are little, how much would be the ROI on it? There is an initial investment required, and it's not really resulting in actually construction activities, but that's not the case. If you start implementing it from start, and it is going to affect your construction, it is going to improve your workflows, it is going to improve your coordination, quality, security, and safety, and not just safety in terms of construction, construction HSE, but also data privacy should be a very important part of the digital roadmap. In terms of mandate, you are saying there are many, I would say, digital and BIM standards which are globally adopted, like ISO BIM standards 19650, which is an extension of UK BIM standards. Then there is US NBIM standards, which US uses. And there is a regional adoption according to whatever regions we are in. So I think I have seen in my career, US is more inclined towards adopting technology, whereas UK is more inclined towards adopting processes and workflows which are defined in these BIM standards. So the bottom line here is that it comes all down to the point that if we want to adopt this thing in India, we use this as a base, develop a national annexure for the same, and then go ahead and align that with employers' information requirement, which is known as EIR in BIM, BIM standards, and then implement that on the projects. Yeah, that would be.
Okay, thank you, Bhawah. Since you mentioned clients also, yeah. I'll go to Awanish now. Awanish represents a client, actually, the owner-developer community. The clients are also one of the key triggers, for pushing the digital agenda. And if the clients are not convinced, it's actually, what like Vikaas ji mentioned, the perception then boils down to cost. That it will, for any, someone like, let's say, Ahluwalia, why would someone, invest in a technology if the clients are not asking for it? So clients, how can clients push this ahead? What is the way ahead that, when the clients will start mandating the usage of, let's say, BIM, drones, AI, ML, other technologies in large contracts? And this I'm saying both from the private and the public sector fraternity. So, any thoughts on that, Awanish?
Yes, not just on the digital side of the technology, I must say. When we talk in construction, overall technology, maybe off-site construction also. In Middle East, I have seen a lot of work is happening in off-site, and we are doing it on-site and minimizing the time. When, as a client, if I see, to respond to your question, so I categorize in four different envelopes, you can say. First is if my technology partner is just expert or he is my partner in real. He's a PMP, okay? Project management partner, he should be. A few days ago, I posted a question in LinkedIn to understand why somebody is selling me a product and leaving me to understand and then implement on my own. If a technology partner is helping me in the project life cycle so that my workforce with me as a client understand the technology and then implements and replicates in other projects as well. Like we were trying hard to understand the common data environment. We have been talking since last 5-7 years majorly, but majorly failed. Because one of the thing is resistance to the change in my workforce itself. Then training and educating your client is very important. Technology partners should understand that its hand-holding exercise should happen till even to the next project and its business, obviously. This is the major envelope. 2-3 envelopes which I consider is not for the real estate industry, but overall is policy. In India, more than 12% of employment generation is through construction industry, and it's seasonal. Okay, in other than crop season, it increases to 20% as well. So if government comes up with a policy that how can technology help to the workforce, it should not be just mere laborer's job. To increase the productivity, technology can help through manless equipments as we are using in excavation also, Rao sir, you will agree. So technology partners through government policies, and the last envelope will be the sustainability of it. I started implementing a tool. It was not sustainable. Okay, so that sustainability part we should focus on. So we can successfully as a client, contractor or consultant or technology partner, we are on the same boat. We should help each other, then we succeed. That's my take on it.
Sure, yeah. Thanks Awanish. I think one of the big elephants in the room is also the government sector, the policy think tanks driving this. And Mr. Rao, I want to ask you for your views that apart from the policy side of it, for pushing the technology adoption, because in the morning we heard Mr. Sinha talking about policies being there for GIS, and also I think Amber also mentioned about the drones. The policy is coming up. I think for drone it's already out there, but when it comes to the other enablers through the government, let's say subsidies, concessions to other let's say contractors on the equipment and other aspects, do you think there is a potential out there?
Yeah. Before what should be the government's support in this regard, just I want to say, as a construction company, what happens, all construction companies in India, we secure projects in a competitive environment. So cost is, for us, cost is very important. And of course, time. If you save the time, automatically we save the cost. So these technology adoption, particularly these partners in the technology providers or otherwise these agencies who are providing services, we are advising. So we have to see the top management, particularly first generation entrepreneurs of the construction industry. We have to sell them. If you want to sell them, there should be a tangible benefit of cost saving, time saving, improvement in the quality, and more effective monitoring, and then the more safety. These kind of things, how this technology will improve all these things, how this technology will help. So it comes from, even irrespective of the, there is no mandate from the client, there is no mandate from the engineer. Even as Mr. Vikaas said, it's a voluntarily kind of adoption from the private sector, particularly in the construction industry. These things should be able to sell them. That is the one thing. And second thing, when it comes to, these kind of a digitization and all, apart from the skill sets required, and all the people who are well trained in this thing, if you come to a construction machinery kind of a thing, if you want to import a slip form firm from Germany, if you want to have something between sensor pavers or otherwise Vibromax rollers. Now there is a rollers are coming, compactors are coming, which can do a compaction of 250 mm in one go. Otherwise, it's usually 125 to 6 inches kind of thing. Now they say it can compact of a 200. But these are all have a cost impact. These are all have a capex. So to meet that kind of a capex, given the competitive environment, there should be some kind of incentive, either in form of a mobilization advance exclusively for deployment of machinery, or some duty concession, import duty should be exempted. So definitely it will encourage the stakeholders, particularly in the construction agencies, to adopt more technologies and they find the value addition in that and then they go for it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rao. I have few other questions, but I am also wary of the time. I have only, I think, 7 minutes and 35 seconds left. So I want to open it up to the participants in the audience. If there are any questions that anyone wants to ask to the panelists, please feel free. Otherwise, I'll continue with my drill. So and there are some surprise questions also for the panelists, but I don't want them to get surprised. So please, if there are any questions, please raise your hands and the mic will reach you and then you can ask the question. So we have one.
Hello. Hi everyone. My question is redirected to Ahluwalia sir and Rao sir specifically. So where in day-to-day technology adoption do you feel a drone or a 360 camera in terms of monitoring for your interiors or exterior construction could help you increase your operational efficiency?
Vikaas, you want to go ahead first?
Definitely. See, what has happened again, one more perspective of the technology adoption. We never thought that video conferencing will become such a popular and such a kind of a thing until the pandemic COVID arrived in. So now we are all there, now it's like that. See, during the time of those lockdowns and pandemic first stage and first wave and second wave. So first time we started monitoring the projects through drones. So we said all site people, you just entire length of project, you have a video of the drone photography and you send it, then we'll monitor from that. That really helped us. That area, particularly in the linear projects, we have a roads, expressways of 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers in a single stage. That really helped us. So when we asked them to send it and then we sit at our offices, corporate offices, view those things and they give the suggestions, what are the interventions required to expedite the projects, what are the interventions required to remove the bottlenecks, what additional resources to be deployed, those kind of really helped us. So just I want to mention of that drone kind of a thing, so to be more specific and realistic.
After the pandemic, sir, do you think, the adoption?
Yes, post-pandemic also, now once we saw what is the kind of effectiveness and what kind of a ease and this one, now we are continuing that practice. But that was the trigger.
Makes sense.
To answer that, I would love to use drones when I do buildings. I don't know about interiors. If you're talking of only flying drones, as you know, drones that, the four-blade thing, interiors, frankly speaking, it may be a little difficult because of the space constraint and otherwise. I want to use drones. I've used drones before we start, but after that, frankly speaking, I'm very scared kahin toot na jaye. Frankly, I'm very scared of that, or it may cause an accident because as soon as it goes, koi takkar ho jaye, it crashes with the crane or something. It may cause an accident. I'm very scared of that, but I want to use. And secondly, in buildings, I feel, we can use drones not like an everyday thing, but to monitor the project every 15 days, what is the growth, more like generating an MIS.
Yeah.
But I want to also know from you or, the community, drone community here, how can this become a process?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
You see, we a construction industry are all about processes.
Yeah.
Why there is a, if I go back to the first question that Yash asked, why the adoption, is because somehow we are not able to get this, we're not able to get the processes right. Our processes are very manual. We need to digitize our process and digitize to reduce the steps in a process. If I'm going to replicate an Excel sheet on a system that I see in the front, on the screen, I'm sorry, it's of no use to me. The Excel sheet is much more effective. So you need to also come up how it can become a process, right, rather than a very luxury thing to, or a very, I would not say time pass, but just to show off. Sorry, I'm using very loose words, but we don't want to show off.
No, that makes sense.
No, because nobody's going to pay us for showing off.
Yeah, and in fact, I really appreciate your perspective in terms of, adopting what's really helping you out. And I've actually written this down. You need to revolve and not evolve. But to answer that question, specifically with drones, it's not just about photography. That's for wedding purposes. When it comes to construction,
I never said photography. I said monitoring.
Yes, in fact,
I'm sorry, there's a difference in the two terms.
Yeah, true. That's what. So, in terms of monitoring, also, I feel the drone industry overall has come very far in terms of monitoring using machine learning and artificial intelligence. So, I'm sure everybody here knows what a machine learning can do and how it could help.
I would since we are here, I would rather expand the concept of drone, because drone is just not flying. The term drone means that something which is controlled remotely. It's not that the controller is sitting on the device itself. That is the real meaning of the term drone. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, but it is now being used only for, with drone with the 4 rotors, under, over, controlling, flying, hovering. Drones are not that. So you also need to, as a tech part, as a, something to do with tech side, technology, drones, we also need to think, you also need to think for us and for yourself and for the growth, that drones are not just for flying. Yeah, you have some drones which are going inside the buildings, which can walk through, navigate through closed spaces. I'm game.
Smit, you want to respond quickly to that before we go to the other question?
I actually want to respond to the perspective that you made. Actually, most of the drones that the construction industry, at least the individual projects that how they use, is actually not the real application. So essentially, for any valuable insight that you're trying to drive, if there is a person who's manually trying to drive the drone, then that's actually the wrong application. Most of the drones that are being used for construction surveys, actually, you just go on a Google map, you create a box of where you want to survey, and then the drone will give you a orthomosaic or some sort of a 3D output. The key element that the drone generates is not the video or the photo, but the 3D reconstruction of the site right now. So all senior resources that would have need to travel and then inspect the site, all of that goes away. And from a process perspective, essentially it should just be just another box that goes with the team on the site. Someone who's 10th pass can know how to operate it. He sets that box on the Google map, then the drone does its stuff. All the data is collected, uploaded via cloud, and a map is created, all the senior resources who are measuring, monitoring, responsible for the entire project management piece, now no longer need to go to the site so frequently. Even in case of there are big issues coming up, you can do all of this by sort of accessing all of this data remotely. Mostly the data will not be in the form of videos or photos, but actual measurable twins, which is where the outcome can come. So using drones for photos and videos is a very small and a very introductory kind of a use case. The majority comes in when you use survey grade drones to actually create a reconstruction of what's happening at the site in the digital world. So that's the real use actually.
I would like to ask a question from Smit Shah. We all know that most of our startups are assembling the drones, but is there any startups in India or is there any technology company that who actually construct the components of drone for India?
So when we talk about any technology, usually the OEM is always the assembler. Some of the things that other companies are expert at, they have a vendor-based ecosystem. So in the case of drones, because we don't manufacture any electronics for any electronical, sort of component in the country. So mobile phones, laptops, TVs, all of it, the semiconductor comes from outside. Similar is the logic for drones. A lot of them have been building their own flight controllers now. I mean the organized sector, not the unorganized one. They are building their airframes. Battery, motor, propeller come from outside right now, which anyways is a dumb component. There is no cyber security, code, intelligence involved. So most of the intelligence side and the design side, which is the airframe design, which is going to decide how the drone will fly, whether efficiently or not, and the intelligence, which is the autopilot and the algorithms going in, are all happening in India right now. We have some electric vehicle companies that have started building drone batteries, so even that is happening now. Some startups who have built motors for medical devices, they are building motors for drones now. Propellers is just a challenge. Once the numbers are there, anyone can sort of put that system and start building propellers. So we are gradually moving there, and the government's PLI scheme, actually production linked incentive scheme, is a statement of conformity here, because according to the production linked incentive scheme, we have about 66% indigenization in the drone ecosystem, which is only going to increase. So that is through GST filings and through compliance of the companies, through which eventually they are going to get incentive. So it's a proof on paper, not just a dialogue or a statement by me. So 66% indigenization already, and it will soon increase to 75%, 80% as well.
Thank you. Can we get a list of these companies that associate about the fans as well as the camera as well as different other devices?
Some of the technologies that we don't build for the general industry, like camera, we don't build cameras for any application right now. So the sensor comes from outside. Integration has started happening already. The day we come together, just like I mentioned, the EV industry and the drone industry coming together and building batteries. Similarly, when 4 or 5 ecosystem players come together and start thinking of building cameras, it's not something that we cannot do.
Thank you.
I've been hearing this about drone, and probably it's very initial stages, like on a baby boomer stages, like AI and machine learning. I think what I can see in terms of use of drone in construction industry is basically it can happen across project cycle, definitely from the start of implementing it on a site in terms of value engineering. But I think it can be used majorly in terms of project phasing, how a project is phased during the construction stages, and then aligning that with your project schedule. That can help in terms of realizing what is the cause of delay in terms of construction. Is it weather? Is it because of materiality? Or there can be a number of reasons to it. I think one of the aspect of drone, I think, can be used there, and it can really help the clients and PMC teams or GC contractor when they are in the construction stages. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
3D LiDAR has to be integrated with me, and there are platforms available. It's nothing new. For last 10 years, we have been doing comparison between the scan coming from the site and the BIM model coming from the technology team. You have to do integration, and then you can do the validation. Just a small example, I don't want to waste your time. You have completed the basement. For example, civil work is done. Your column beam may not be as per the given drawings. There is some variation in the beams or columns or site location. To capture the next phase, when your pipes and ducts will come, you may face problem because the beam size is 20 millimeter higher than the given drawings. So to check the actual as-built situation in compared to the given drawings, you can do the validation and plan the next phase of pipe and cable tray and duct accordingly, that there is some 20 millimeter variation. You have to replan the reroute your ducts and cable trays. Actually happening, sir, globally, it's nothing new.
Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. And before closing this session, I would request Mr. Yash Pratap Singh, our distinguished moderator, to do the honors of presenting a token of gratitude and appreciations to all our eminent panelists. We begin with Mr. Vikram Ahluwalia. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Vikaas Ahluwalia. Extremely sorry, sir. Mr. Vikaas Ahluwalia, Mr. T.R. Rao, Mr. Smit Shah, after that, Mr. T.R. Rao. Thank you, sir. Mr. Smit Shah. Thank you very much indeed. Mr. Parveen Sharma. Ms. Bhawah Samyal. And Mr. Awanish Shukla. Thank you, Mr. Yash, for doing the honors. May I now invite Mr. Shali from ASAP Info Global Group to do the honors of presenting a small token to our moderator, Mr. Yash Pratap Singh. Thank you, sir, for being here with us and wonderfully moderating that session. Thank you, Roshali, for doing the honors. May I request for a group photograph from the panel? Thank you. Roshali, can you join them? Group photograph? Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, let's once again put our hands together for that wonderful panel discussion we had for all our eminent panelists.